Africa's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. As usual, remember to jump onto the hashtag 3QP and let us know what your sporting interests are. I'm Damima Duffield.
And I'm Kamuya.
So the final that we have been waiting for, because Enterprise Cup, I mean, yeah, it's a final, but
it's true.
You know, the Kenya Cup final.
Yeah.
After like 19 or so weeks, finally came. Guys went to the forest.
Yeah.
That's Kakamega.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
Finals were Cabras versus KCB, and this was, I feel like, the one shot Cabras had.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe if they maintain that team next year, this was the shot they had. They've been so good this season, beating virtually everyone, and KCB haven't had the best of seasons, but as we say, as we always say, or I always say, KCB knows how to win championships. They know how to win when it matters, apart from the Enterprise Cup semi-final. But yeah, so scores at the end of the day, 23 to KCB, 15 to Cabras.
Yeah.
However, that wasn't the case throughout the game.
Yeah.
It was a sort of seesaw. Cabras were, I think, in the lead for most of the game, up until like the last maybe 15-20 minutes.
Yes.
And that's when KCB showed, basically, in the words of Peter Ndonga or Pogi, what championship sides are. Yeah, no, like, it was like what? That basically showed that's what championship sides are made of. Yeah. You play till the last whistle blows. It doesn't matter if you're behind. KCB here played with a lot of like calmness, composure. Missing a few penalties here and there in the beginning, but Jacob Oje, getting a few more on the board, points on the board rather. A little bit of indiscipline for both sides. Yellow card on the Cabra side, that was Kevin Keegan. Yellow card on the other side, that was Peter Kilonzo. Yeah. But KCB just showing, look, we are here, we mean business, fine. We may not have started off too well, but I think the cohesion of the team, those guys have played together for so long. Yeah. It's like, even when you've got, I don't know, you looked at the books and Curtis said, this is how we're going to play. But that camaraderie between the boys, I think is what won it for them on the day.
First I'll start with a sad note. Bamba Sport, you had one job, and that was to stream that game live. Very many of the people who were in Nairobi were unable to watch the game because of the link going down. I don't know what the reason is. Whatever it is, it's not a reason. Because this is the biggest game of the season. You've bought rights to televise the Kenya Cup, among other games. This is the biggest game of the season. Come on, you just cannot have problems when it comes to that. On the flip side, and I think about, I'm thinking of course from a business standpoint, like how we keep on missing on commercial low-hanging fruits. If the game had been shown, there was somewhere where everyone was congregating to watch that game. And because the link went down, or because there was no link, we were unable to watch the game. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you knew 3 or 4 weeks ago that the final is going to be in Kakamega. You knew that very many people are not going to be traveling down. I'm sure you and Bamba should have worked out, and by you I mean the Kenya Rugby Union, should have worked up some sort of deal to sell those set of boxes, at least even for that month, just to watch the action, to go to these bars, because I'm sure these bars would have been packed, come up with some deal that's going to get guys in these bars, watching the Kenya Cup final, and a win-win for both parties. But do we think that far in terms of commercially? I don't know. That's a question for another day. So KCB, and we said this after March day 11 when they met. KCB mentally have an edge over Cabras, and championship sport or rugby for this particular in this case is a mental game. It's who's stronger mentally on the day. And KCB have that edge, have that over Cabras. Cabras need to work on that. And I don't know what they're going to do about it, but they need to go work on that. But more importantly for me is, we sit down and we talk about, people think things are patched up, like there's no planning that goes into it. And I think about an encounter I had with KCB head coach Curtis Olago last year when you're coming back from from the Elgon Cup. And we were sitting down at the airport in Entebbe, and he was showing me his plans, and he was showing me, this is a system I want to employ, I think this is what you're going to do, I think this works well with KCB. Shortly thereafter, he was down in South Africa, Western Province, for a while, and then he came back, and then the team went back for camp, for a 10-week-day camp in South Africa. So when we sit down, we think of it like, it's just hard success. But these were plans that actually went into place a long time ago. And even when things were not working for KCB, when they were narrowly beating Black Blood, when they were losing to Nondis, they knew that the time was coming. Just believe in the process and take your time. And that's what won it on the day. You get the feeling that Cabras is a patched up side, because, granted, they have a lot of money. Go pick a few guys from South Africa, pick a South African coach, not that there's any problem with South Africans. I mean, KCB have largely benefited because of that relationship with South Africa, so we can't discount that. And I always, from where I stand, I think it's good when you have foreigners playing in your league. I think it's good. But you feel like it's patched up, You bring someone here, Logan Basson can't stand the heat, he goes back, Philip Okrach has to slot into number 10. And that's what you're saying, you're unable to build that camaraderie. So you hope that the team that got to the final this year, that Cabras is going to maintain that team, and they're going to invest, and they're going to take things a bit more seriously and realize that money can't buy you championships. They'll do for Man City and Chelsea and other sports, but here it's not. And especially if you have a well-oiled outfit like KCB, it's going to be very hard to beat them. So kudos to KCB. It's what I expected. Purely from the point that two things. Number one, mentally they were strong. Number two, they had a better bench than Cabras.
I think I agree with you. However, even though the Cabras side, as you said, is pretty sort of patched up in the sense that those are not players that have been together for years. Like not everyone, But I think they've done a very good job. Getting to the finals again with very many new players. Or quite a few new players, a new coach, and looking strong while at it. Like it wasn't by chance, They really worked on their systems, whatever they were. They really worked on their systems, and they've managed to get to the final. Now I think it's just that mental edge that they need.
True. On the other side, on the flip side, let me ask this: if all the other teams had the financial muscle that KCB has, do you think Cabras would have gotten this far?
See now, it's not, sports is not fair.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So what, and that's why I'm saying that the commercial part comes in. That's where, fine, they have the money and they will buy, they will patch, and they will try to make it a makeshift team. But then what happens after this? Think about it. In the last 3 years, from a technical perspective, Cabras has had 3 coaches. Antonio Gort, Charles Cadeveres, and now Henry Duplessis. So there's a high turnover when management comes. We can add 4 years because of Mark Bishop. So there's a very high turnover when it comes to the management itself. So I think, just to echo the words of Benjamin Aimba, they need to really focus on the culture bit. Because I think that's what's really messing up Cabras.
I totally agree on that. I just feel like they've put in a lot of work still. And as much as they've got the financial muscle and all of that, they have put in, like the boys have put in a lot of work.
They have.
And, just fallen short of victory. Maybe next year we'll be there,
True, that's true,
Well, anyway, well done to KCB. Third time in a row.
Third time in a three-peat.
Three-peat, so we move on to the Enterprise Cup finals, where Cabras feature again. But this time, instead of KCB, who we've gotten used to seeing in finals, we have Impala. So Impala versus Cabras. Cabras has been for the longest time Impala's bogey team, but now Cabras is just a force to reckon with. So to be honest, in my opinion, I see it going to Cabras.
It's going to go to Cabras because, I think it's going to go to Cabras because number one, we'll try to prove something. They need to get a title. So they're going to work hard at that. Number two, the only people, in my opinion, who can beat Cabras is KCB. And we've seen that happen. Impala are going to have a hard time beating Cabras.
But hey, the game is played on the day.
It's on the day, that's true.
So let's hope that Impala pull up their socks and we get a really good game.
That's true.
So now we move on to Championship Rugby, where the game actually before the Kenya Cup final was Kisumu playing Western Bulls. And Kisumu winning that game 23-5. Yes, they're both promoted into Kenya Cup, but Kisumu have the bragging rights.
Bragging rights. Fantastic work, like I've said repeatedly. on the Three Quarters podcast. Gideon Kidanda has been doing a good job at Kisumu, and you can see the results now. They've beaten Western Bulls. They're back there in the Kenya Cup. The Western Bulls have come back to the Kenya Cup, so it should be an interesting one come next year or next season. But I mean, kudos to Kisumu and Western Bulls for getting promoted to the Kenya Cup.
Definitely. Yeah. So the London Sevens is coming up soon.
Yeah.
And we being Shuja, are in a pool with Samoa, Fiji, and France. Yeah. I think, to be honest, for a while now, since we had most of the senior players step down. Every pool looks hard. Like there's no pool that you get and you're like, okay, this might be easy. Every pool looks hard. So the boys chosen to represent us are Vincent Tonyala, Jeffrey Oluoch, Nelson Oyo, Johnston Elindi, Daniel Tabu, Jacob Oje, Cyprian Kuto, Eden Aguero, Brian Wandera, Andrew Omonde, Bush Mole, Daniel Sikuta, and Charles Omondi.
Interesting squad. Good to see some of the stalwarts back. Good to see some experience going on to the final leg. And remember, we were just 3 points from relegation. So it's going to be very important for our guys to get a better result than Japan and Wales to make sure that we're not relegated this season. So, I mean, all the best to the boys as they go forward.
All the best to them. Little mixture of experience and I don't know if we can call them newbies anymore.
No, we can. It's a first season.
I guess,
You can call them newbies.
But I mean, we've gotten now used to seeing them, and they have sort of become our main team. But true. All the best to the boys. Then we're still on the issue of Israel Folou. It's been a nagging issue. Like it's dragged on and on. So finally, Rugby Australia have decided to terminate his $4 million contract, and well, I mean, it's sad for him, for rugby, for the union. But and guys, go back to last week's episode. I mean, I feel bad for for Izzy Folou, for the union, for rugby, as a whole. But I feel like, in retrospect, like, yes, you looked at it from the financial angle and sponsors, and you're like, someone somewhere, someone's ego was bruised, and that's how this became a whole thing. But I look at it from the point of, so you're my teammate, and I'm gay. We're trying to make sports and everything in general all inclusive. So if we are part of a team and you go and post that, how will that affect the dynamics of the team? Yes, there is free speech, there's all of that, but you see, if I don't like the fact that you're cheating on your wife, which is something that happens like everywhere, I'm not going to post this on my page and say, oh, that'll be my opinion, and I'll keep it to myself. So, just on sort of, when you look at it from a point where unions are trying to make sports, an all-inclusive thing. You're trying to have no homophobia, transphobia, things like that. Then I can feel where they're coming from.
It's not. I wish that was the case, but we know that's not the case. You see, my problem with this. Okay, number one, Israel Folou and Polynesian players are very religious. They abide by the Christian faith, like it's very serious for them. And that, from a legal standpoint, what I was going to challenge is that, look, he posted a verse in the Bible. It's the Bible that says that, right? Granted, it was his platform, but he posted a verse from the Bible. So, do we have a problem now with the Bible?
Now, you see, my issue with that would be, yes, he posted a verse from the Bible, but it's not like, we're not children, it's not like we don't know what we're posting. He could have posted any other verse from the Bible. But that one was put up specifically because he believed, he felt very strongly, obviously, about that. And I'm not saying that
you're going to believe everything that's in the Bible.
And I'm not saying that he was wrong for feeling that. I just feel, from the sense of all inclusion, I can see where it would have ruffled feathers.
So then, let me ask you, Damima, if Rugby Australia were actually doing it for the right reasons, the right reasons is what you've just quoted, why were they offering him hash money?
Now, that I don't know. I'm saying it, this is my point of view. I'm speaking from my point of view, and I feel that because of that, I would understand. If that was the reason, let's just say that was the reason, then yes, I would side with them in the sense that,
I have no problem, and I was saying, look, I'm sure the Code of Conduct talks about something. The Rugby Australia Code of Conduct talks about something. I would have no problem if they actually faced it and said, look, this guy is openly gay. And as the CEO of Qantas, you've offended him. He's our biggest sponsor, and as such, we can't have this going, right? the money bit of sports. I would actually appreciate if they actually say that. But then to hide behind all these things.
But you understand, as the head of, a large corporation, you might not also want to go on TV and say, I am gay. That
but
might affect
he is.
business.
By the way, it's not hidden.
Okay.
It is not hidden. He's openly gay. He's lived with his partner who's a New Zealand guy for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So it's knowledge in Australia.
Well, if it's part of the contract, then it shouldn't have to go back to, it's because this guy was offended. It's part of your contract.
That's what I'm saying. I would like to see the contract. There was an issue about social media clauses and everything. I'd like to see the contract. I haven't seen the contract.
I would too now.
Yeah, but there was an issue about social media clauses, and that's what his legal team were arguing.
Yeah.
There's nothing about social media. You don't block me from saying anything about social media. Remember, Easy Folou, this is not the first time actually he's posted something to that effect. And the other time, Rugby Australia actually approached him and told him, look, we are not going to deny you your right to speak. You can say whatever you want to say. Just tone it down a bit. All right? Okay, what's toning it down a bit? Anyway. But anyway, when you listen to the stories and you see the discussions that are happening in Australia, you get the feeling that, and the people who've actually had direct contact with Easy Folou after this story, you get the feeling that there's a story we are not being told by Rugby Australia, especially about the initial disagreement between the two of them. But look, Qantas is the one that pays you big, so you have to be very careful about what you say. You appreciate him by sticking by his principles, but look, in sport it's fluid. There are very many interests, so you have to be very careful about what you say.
Anyway, like I said, sad day for rugby, sad day for Izzy Folou, and Australian rugby, obviously. So onto the international rugby scene, we had match day, Super Rugby match day 14. So we had the Hurricanes losing to the Jaguars 20-28. Rebels losing to the Bulls 17-32. Blues beating the Chiefs 23-8. Reds losing to Waratahs 32-40. Lions beating the Highlanders 38-29, and the Stormers drawing to the Crusaders 19-19.
That Crusaders one is the one that shocked me. Because Stormers went on to, sorry about that, the Stormers went on to a very early lead. Sia Kolisi getting their first try. But the Crusaders, I mean, look, they're playing away. You're playing in Cape Town, which is not your hometown. You have to give them props. There's something about, it's like we're talking about KCV. There's something about Crusaders and mental. And then they're on another level. They are on another level.
So match day 15, we have Chiefs versus Reds, Brumbies versus Bulls, Sunwolves versus Rebels, Crusaders versus Blues, Waratahs versus Jaguars, Stormers versus Highlanders, and Sharks versus Lions.
I'm very interested at Crusaders versus Blues for one reason. Ma Nonu has come back to New Zealand to play in the Super Rugby. He's plays for the Bulls, for the Blues, sorry. Ma Nonu, my gut tells me, moved back to New Zealand to be eligible to play in the World Cup this year. Now, with the form that we've seen this guy, he's putting his hand up to be chosen by the All Blacks for the World Cup this year. Ma Nonu brings experience. He's a 2-time World Cup winner. Explosive at number 12, and even at 37 years he's still making some runs like no one's business. He comes up against a very formidable center partnership, and what people are talking about, or what people are saying should be the starting All Black center partnership in Ryan Crotty at 12 and Jack Goodhue at 13. So if there's a game that he needs to put his hand up, it's this one against the Crusaders, so it should be an interesting fixture.
I look forward to that one. So now we move on to other sports. So FA Cup final, and we're basically talking about the fact that it's no longer hyped up like it was, 10 years ago. So Man City beat Watford 6-0. That's whooping for a final. I mean, we had David Silva with a goal, Kevin De Bruyne with a goal. Gabriel Jesus with 2, and Raheem Sterling with 2. I mean, they had a field day. And I'm just trying to think though. I mean, granted, yes, people knew it was going on, but it wasn't really like you couldn't feel like, oh my gosh, it's the FA Cup final.
You see, FA Cup final. The biggest problem about the FA Cup final is first, it's the oldest knockout competition in football. So naturally it used to get more attention than the Premier League.
Yeah.
I remember BBC had the long-standing TV rights for the FA Cup final. But when TV money checked into football and the Premier League per se, now a lot of eyeballs have gone towards the Premier League. One. Two, it also does not help that the teams themselves do not really value the FA Cup as much as people back then did. Because I remember, even small final, I think was it 2004 when it was Millwall versus Manchester United. It was still a big game.
Yeah.
Guys were chilling to watch that game.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's FA made a blunder, and they need to do something to revitalize the FA Cup, because look, like I'm saying, it's the oldest knockout competition in football. The heritage that's behind it, and it's a game that was played at Wembley Stadium. There's a lot going with the FA Cup, so I think they need to rebrand and repackage it and make it attractive, I guess, to the new eyeballs. Yeah,
because I'm thinking, when you've got teams investing in it and actually taking it seriously, then you're not going to have a final where you already know the result. You're just waiting for the scoreline.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the scoreline. Two things that really disappoint me: the FA Cup final and the Community Shield, which used to be called the Charity Shield back in the day. Charity Shield, of course, is the opener. It's between the winners of the league and the winners of the FA Cup. Already there you can see that FA Cup had still had some presence. And then the FA Cup itself, they've really dwindled in the last few years. My thinking and my opinion is that many of the English clubs don't give it, like we're saying, are not giving these competitions the attention that they require. But look, they need to do something about it if they're going to return it to where it was.
So now we move on to F1. We had the Spanish Grand Prix. So we had Mercedes, Red Bull, and then Ferrari. So Mercedes doing very well. That was Lewis Hamilton. And you had Bottas. Then you had Verstappen from Red Bull. Then you had Vettel from Ferrari and Leclerc from Ferrari.
Of course, the conversation now has been about Mercedes' dominance. Matteo Binotto, the team principal for Ferrari, he was interviewed by BBC sometime last week, and he was saying that there are very many things that are going into Ferrari's performance this year. First, he feels that the team at Ferrari just now is young. The senior personnel at Ferrari is young. And as such, that's affecting the results, because I haven't been in the game for a minute. I don't think he's talking about the drivers, because you have Sebastian Vettel, who himself is already a 4-time world champion. Granted, Charles Leclerc is just coming into the fold, but you have Vettel, who's been there for years, and he's a 4-time world champion, like I've just said. But the biggest issue about Ferrari and the talk that's happening, or the conversation that's going around about Ferrari, is their car. While the car is quicker on the straight lines, it's very slow in the bends, and that's where Mercedes picked up. That I think, in my opinion, that's where Mercedes beat them, because Mercedes' car is very constant. They're not slow on the straights, but also on the bends they are not crap, like what Ferrari's car is. And like in the first lap or something, if something happens to Ferrari's car, it's very likely that they'll either have to pull out or they won't be able to perform at max. So funny thing is that we're talking about Ferrari and car problems. I think they need to. A lot of work needs to go into their car if they're going to be able to challenge Mercedes.
Well, obviously, because you're not going to get a track that's going to be straight all the way. So you've got to work on it.
You have to work on it.
So now we talk about NBA, basketball, conference finals. So the Golden State Warriors won 4 straight playoff games without Kevin Durant. The question is he a necessity or a luxury?
No. Is he a necessity or a luxury? KD has been by far the best player for the Golden State Warriors this season. Some of the numbers you're seeing putting up, especially with how the game is open, are numbers that used to be put up by the big men back in the days, because it was more post-game. He's their best rim defender this season. But, the good thing about Golden State Warriors, and what I like ever since KD went there, is that you don't find the other guys jealous, for lack of a better word. Everyone plays their role. So KD is their main guy. He's the best player. So let him get the points. Let him do what needs to be done. But when KD is injured, it's not like Steph is crap.
Yeah.
It's not like Klay Thompson is crap. They're going to put up the numbers. I mean, in Game 3 versus the Portland Trail Blazers, Steph put up 36 points. You know, he dropped 36 points. That was 6 short of the combined total of the Portland Trail Blazers, number 1 and 2. That is CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, the backcourt. So it's not about necessity. It's not about, they definitely need, and especially when they go to the finals, you're going to need Kevin Durant.
Yep.
But the good thing about the Golden State Warriors is that even if Kevin Durant is injured, Steph Curry is going to pick it up, Klay Thompson is going to pick it up, and they're going to share the load. Yeah.
So that's that for the Western Conference Finals. What about the Eastern?
In the East, you have the Milwaukee Bucks leading the Toronto Raptors 2-0. I think in Game 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo dropping 30 points or something, and then Kawhi Leonard dropping 31 points. I had wanted initially the Bucks to go through as the Eastern Conference representatives, but somewhere in between the playoffs, or somewhere as the playoffs were happening, I kind of gravitated towards Toronto. Of course, Bucks had the home court advantage, and you'd expect nothing less. But look, also for Toronto, if you're going to be challenging the top teams, then you need to steal a game or two, when you travel. So they lost 2, but now they go back to Toronto, and you only hope that Toronto can be able to put up the 2 games at least, and then when it becomes a swing, you hope that they can steal 1 game.
Yep.
In Milwaukee. But that I think. Western Conference looks like it's going to be a sweep. I think this is going to be the one to watch out for, the Eastern Conference.
So now we move on to the bonus segment, and the summer's fast approaching. So, we're going to talk about, or I'd like you to, mention a few upcoming trades, or possible upcoming trades in the NBA with a number of high-profile free agents being available. I know I saw somewhere that Anthony Davis moving to the Lakers will Gail Benson is like over my dead body.
They talk about Anthony Davis moving to the Lakers. They talk about him going to Boston. We don't know how it's going to pan out. We all thought he was going to the Lakers the last time, and then that trade collapsed. The biggest free agent this season is Kevin Durant. Now, there are 3 things I am hearing. Number 1, he resigns with the Golden State Warriors. Number 2, he goes to the LA Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers. Sorry. Of course, the attraction at the LA Clippers is number 1, the general manager Jerry West, and the money behind the LA Clippers, and it's LA. So there's that number 2 option. Number 3 is a new one I've had, is that he could go to the New York Knicks. I think that is far-fetched, but there's also that one. It also depends, of course, on the other strings that are being moved. Now, we're signing with the Golden State Warriors, moving to Los Angeles Clippers. The biggest attraction about that is that the second biggest free agent this season, or this summer, is Kawhi Leonard. So there's a talk about Kawhi Leonard moving also to the Clippers. We all know that he's wanted to go back to Los Angeles. That's where he's from. When he was at the Spurs or the San Antonio, he didn't play he only played 9 games, I think, last season, and he moved to Toronto, and everyone was knowing it. Everyone knew that he was going to be moving to LA this season. So this summer. So there's talk about Kawhi Leonard now and Kevin Durant teaming up at the Los Angeles Clippers. There was talk at some point about Kawhi going to Los Angeles Lakers, but we're not. I mean, Lakers have a lot of problems, front office problems. I don't think anyone wants to be featuring there. The New York option, the New York Knicks option. There's talk about now the person who I consider to be the 3rd in my books, of course, the 3rd biggest free agent this season, Kyrie Irving at Boston Celtics. So there's talk about now Kevin Durant teaming up with Kyrie in New York, which would be an interesting one.
Which do you think would be better for him?
For the league, let me say, for the league, because the West is really loaded with stars. I think for the league, the best move, of course, would be for Kevin Durant to team up with Kyrie Irving in New York. It's a big market, and it brings out that East-West rivalry. But I don't see it happening. I mean, I think he has a better shot of winning a championship, of course, staying at the Golden State Warriors, and number 2, moving to the LA Clippers to play with Doc Rivers. So Kyrie Irving has the option of, or there's talk about him going to New York Knicks. There's talk about him going to team up with LeBron in LA Lakers, but that hasn't been called. And there's the option of him resigning with the Boston Celtics. Of course, there's also the attraction of Anthony Davis going to the Boston Celtics. And the last one, I think we've talked about Anthony Davis, and the last one, of course, is Kemba Walker. He's going to be a free agent this summer. He's been the franchise player of the Charlotte Hornets. While I'm not talking on Kemba Walker's side, I'm just thinking that the Charlotte Hornets cannot afford to lose Kemba Walker. And I'm thinking that's what Michael Jordan is telling his people. You cannot afford to lose Kemba Walker this summer, but they have to bring in somebody big, if at all they're going to be challengers in the Eastern Conference. So that's the talk that's happening. So I'm sure after the NBA Finals, we're going to be hearing something.
Definitely. So all you guys who are, our NBA heads, let us know what you think. You can find us on social media, like banter. Tell us what you think. Remember, you can find us by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Damima Duffield.
And I'm Kamuya.
Hashtag to use is 3QP.